What's up, guys? Just got hit with a good idea for a video. Just got done sharpening a couple knives. I have a customer knife. This isn't really a customer. She didn't send me a knife to get it done right away and send it back. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that. Did a couple knives today, and got hit with an idea for a video. I sharpened the ZT 0560. Just wanted to point out a couple things about this knife. If you end up sharpening this knife with a guided system, pay attention when you get back here. The blade doubles in thickness from about here to here. So it's about 1 mil thick at the edge right here. It's just over 2 mil thick right back here. So you're gonna widen your bevel out a great deal right here. Not a big deal. Just figured I would warn you guys, anybody that's going to be sharpening this knife in the future. I have about a 16 degree per side edge on this knife right now, so 32 degrees inclusive. It should be a really good cutter. That's just a couple degrees shallower than the stock bevel was. I think it was around 36 degrees inclusive. So that's a pretty good stock geometry. It's not that thick down here at the edge, so combined with this thin bevel angle or edge angle, it should cut really well. Probably going to test it soon. Anyway, got a hair whittling edge with a wicked edge. I measured this blade before I sharpened it, and I measured it after I sharpened it to see how much steel I lost. I measured it from the tip to the heel using my digital caliper. I indexed a point on the top jaw so that I could repeat that position, and then I drug it out and then hooked the very tip of this on the heel of the blade down here. I measured it. When I sharpened, I paid attention to form as little of a burr as possible and waste as little steel as possible. And I've gotten really good at this from sharpening over the years. I don't have to form a burr on every grit to realize that I've apexed the edge. You just kind of learn that with sharpening. You don't have to form burrs pretty much ever to know that you've apexed the edge. You can just tell by feeling it. So I did a little experiment, and I was going to see just how little steel I could take away from this edge. I'm going to say I was successful. I ended up taking about 0.35 millimeter off of length off the edge, and that translates into a gap about that big. So if you can imagine, I took that much length off of this edge. I know that's out of focus, but I took that much length off. 0.35 mil. It ends up to be pretty negligible. I mean, it's not a whole lot, but it's definitely there. I mean, you can tell that it's there. Now this kind of is a segue into a point that I want to make. People ask me a lot about sharpening and longevity of blades. I haven't gotten that question asked very much lately, but I did get it a while back, a couple times, more than a couple times. So I took this opportunity to show you guys just how much sharpening can really shorten your blade. Now keep in mind, I'm a pretty experienced sharpener, and I made it a point not to grind steel away from this edge. I wanted to get it as sharp as possible with still saving as much steel as possible. And I still ground away about 1/3 of a millimeter off the blade. 1/3 of a millimeter isn't a lot. It's not a lot. But over the length of this knife, the lifetime of this knife, I may sharpen it once a week and take off 0.3 millimeter. That's eventually going to add up. It would only take 3 sharpenings to remove a whole millimeter off the edge. 3 sharpenings isn't a whole lot. It would be not too far out to say that you could take off at least 5 millimeters of length off this edge in 1 year if you use the knife heavily. And keep in mind, this is me conserving as much steel as possible. One thing I do for customer knives, one reason people like to send me their knives is because I did conserve as much steel as possible on their edges. You have to be weary with a lot of sharpeners, even sharpeners like Chris Reeve. When you send your knife back, they will come back noticeably shorter. Uh, I've heard of blades coming back an eighth of an inch shorter. That's a good bit. That is a good bit. Let's see if I can get an eighth of an inch. Right here. Alright, so there's I can't remember exactly the measurement for an eighth of an inch. But whatever, you get the point. God, why am I drawing such a blank right now? Shit. Hang on just a second. Chelsea, type in Google eighth of an inch, 1/8 inch equals millimeter. So do 1-8 inch equals, and then two M's for millimeter, and then tell me what it says.
3.175.
3.175. Okay. I feel like an idiot. Whatever, it's late at night. Alright, so that's close enough. 3.1 something. Alright, think about that much blade being taken off. That much. That's a lot of steel being taken off your knife's edge. An eighth of an inch does seem like a lot, but it seems like a lot if you're taking it just straight from the tip, but that's not the only place it's going to come from. That's somebody putting your knife up against a belt sander and just grinding. So keep in mind, when you send your knife away for sharpening, that was a long lull for that measurement, I'm sorry. People are not conserving the steel on your edge at all. They don't care. They're just going to do whatever is fastest, and they're probably going to stick it on a belt sander, and they're going to sand a whole lot of steel off your knife. So getting back to the whole point of the video, be careful when you're sharpening, because you will grind a whole lot of steel off your knife really fast. And if you do send your knife away for sharpening, make sure you ask them to not waste your blade, because they will grind a whole lot of it off. I also wanted to take this opportunity to tell you guys, this is the reason when you're using a guided system or any sharpener really, you don't want to form huge burrs. The bigger the burr you form on the lower grits, the more steel you're going to waste. I wasted 0.35 millimeter through the whole sharpening process, going from 100 grit to like 2500. That's pretty much as little steel as you can remove as possible. So keep that in mind. The sharpening process can really shorten your blade's life tremendously, and that's one reason that a lot of people, I know I'm a big proponent of it, Kylie's a big proponent of honing. The more time you can keep your blade off the stone, the better. Honestly, if you sharpen a blade like this, you should be able to use this knife and never really touch it to stones for at least a couple months, and that's heavy use. You can hone the edge back to sharpness and then strop and have most of your sharpness back, at least enough to make it last a lot longer than it would normally if you weren't honing. You were just going from sharp to dull, going back to sharpening and dulling it and going back to sharpening. Hone your edges, guys. Make them last as long as possible before you take them to a stone, because you will shorten the life of your blade tremendously, especially if you use one knife every day and you're one of those one knife kind of guys. Then extend the life of your blade. Too many people grind away way too much steel. So if you do like that, if you use a powered sharpener and you don't really care, that's your prerogative, that's cool. But I just wanted to make this video for the guys that don't know just how much steel is being taken off their edge when they get it sharpened. Even if you're doing it by yourself, you can still remove a lot of steel really quickly with those low grit stones or those low grit belts or low grit diamond plates, whatever you're using. Form as little of a burr as possible, and that should conserve your blade for as long as possible. So again, sorry for that lull when I brain farted and forgot the measurement. To be honest, I didn't know it to begin with. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I had no clue what an 1/8 of an inch was translated into millimeters. And I have a digital caliper sitting in front of me. But that's me. I don't care. Not going to edit it out. Anyway, I hope this had some kind of useful information in it. I had no kind of set script for this video, so maybe it did. Anyway, if you have any questions or I forgot to mention something, then let me know, and I'll make an addendum to this. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.